So next, we have Lionel Babicz, and Lionel has been teaching Japanese and Asian studies at the University of Sydney since 2008. His research focuses on the history of Japanese-Korean relations and intellectual history of the Meiji period, 1868 to 1912. He's also engaged in the field of big history. So Lionel, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, with pleasure. I will share. I will try and share my slides first.
Yeah,
Right. Is it okay?
excellent. Very good.
Okay, so let's try and start. Just 1 second. I'm organizing my screen. I put you all there. Okay. So okay, let's. Okay, so thank you, Dave, and everyone. Greetings from Sydney, where it is now Tuesday, 2 a.m. So my name is Lionel Babicz, and as Dave kindly introduced me, I teach Japanese studies and Asian studies at the University of Sydney. Um, I haven't been very active in IBHA, but I'm doing or interested in big history for around 10 years, and it's a real pleasure to join you online today. I can see many names here whose work I followed and learned from over the years. And it is genuinely an honor to be part of this discussion. I'm sure we'll hear many thought-provoking ideas throughout this symposium, and the conversations we begin here will shape not only the next phase of big history scholarship, but also the way we teach big history to the next generation. Students who increasingly expect narratives that are global, interdisciplinary, and responsive to their own experiences. And the title of this symposium is For a New Big History. But my position may sound a little unfashionable. I'd like to suggest that we don't actually need a new big history, but we need to revitalize the one we already have, so that it stays flexible and accessible. And actually, when I listened to Tsujimura Sensei, I heard many things that many points that actually I would like to raise. And so really thank you for your presentation. So let's start a few words about flexibility. Revitalization is possible because big history has a framework which is built for renewal. This framework has proven remarkably effective over the past 40 years. As you all know, it is built around a threshold where complexity increases, each shaped by ingredients and Goldilocks conditions, and it remains one of the best tools we have for organizing change across deep time. It lets us move from the physics of the early universe to the chemistry of life, to the evolution of our own species, and into the complexities of human societies, all this without losing coherence. Thresholds aren't rigid, they are flexible landmarks. They absorb new archaeological findings, new climate data, new regional histories, new scientific paradigms, and the story still holds. That flexibility is, in my opinion, big history's internal strength, its capacity to grow without breaking. So the challenge today is not to redesign big history, it is to keep that flexibility alive, open, of course, to new knowledge, but also open to new voices, open to new contexts, open to new languages, new ways of telling the story. And this brings me to the other side of revitalization, which is just as important as flexibility, and it is accessibility. Let's be honest. Big history faces a genuine risk, the risk of becoming inaccessible, even esoteric, a story confined to a niche circle of enthusiasts and specialists. And this risk grows whenever our explanations become too technical, whenever we assume, for instance, too much prior knowledge, whenever the narrative feels distant from people's life. And this is why accessibility is essential. Accessibility has two faces: intelligibility and participation. Uh, Intelligibility, the story must be easy to follow across cultures, across education levels. Participation, people must see themselves in the story and feel invited to question it, to extend it, to retell it. And under this vision, a big history becomes less a canon and more a commons, a shared resource that belongs to everyone and is shaped and managed collectively. And the more people who engage with it, the richer and the more resilient a big history becomes. So, if flexibility is big history's internal strength and accessibility is its external duty, we could say, then we need tools to help us cultivate both. And fortunately, I think we already have some of those tools. They're built directly into the Big History Toolkit. They're not the only tools that we have, of course, but they are a powerful starting point or continuing point. And the first of these tools are the mini thresholds, which strengthen flexibility. Those mini thresholds, as we all know, they let us zoom in on smaller jumps in complexity within a major threshold. For example, what I put on the slide, the scientific revolution, the industrial revolution, the digital revolution, can all be understood as mini thresholds of the ongoing modern revolution. These fine-grained transitions give big history the capacity to expand and incorporate new insights without disturbing the coherence of the larger story. So if mini thresholds help keep the framework flexible, we have also those little big history, which help keep it accessible. They anchor the vast scales of big history in concrete, relatable examples, a region, an object, a species, a cultural practice, a family memory. They allow individuals and communities to locate themselves inside the narrative. They open up space for multiple voices, multiple angles, multiple kinds of expertise. Little big history make big history accessible. They make it inviting. So now we still have time. Let me show how all this can work in the classroom. Every year I teach a first-year unit at the University of Sydney in Asian Studies, a unit called Asia, Past, Present, Future. It is essentially a big history of Asia, and it attracts around 120, 140 students, many of whom come from or have family roots across Asia itself. And very quickly, the classroom becomes a meeting place of perspective, expectations, lived histories. It becomes a place where big histories, flexibility, and accessibility are truly tested. This is how we introduce the unit to the students. Maybe we can read this quickly. What is Asia? How was the Asian continent formed? How was it populated by humans? How did cities, states, and civilizations appear in Asia? How did Asia connect to other parts of the world? What is the modern revolution and in which ways did it change Asia? What is Asia's impact on the biosphere? What might Asia's future be like? And we tell the student that this unit they will learn about Asia like never before by traveling back in time, beginning 13.8 billion years ago with the Big Bang, and continuing for billions of years into the future. They will understand how Asia fits into a single sweeping narrative that embraces the history of the entire universe, the Earth, and the human species. And this will change their idea of what studying Asia is all about. So we follow, as you can see, the classic big history arc, Big Bang to Anthropocene, but we constantly zoom into Asia and zoom out again to the global story. Students learn to shift scale, to make comparisons, to see patterns and differences across time and space. These are this is a lecture schedule, so we'll not go on everything, but you can see that we move through from Asia cosmic address, Earth formation and the shaping of Asia, the emergence of life, human evolution, and the peopling of Asia, religions in Asia as cultural thresholds, the Silk Roads as networks of exchange, the modern revolution, capitalism, industrialization, empire, framed through questions such as why not China, why Japan, the two world wars, decolonization, the Cold War, the Anthropocene, and also the deep future, including the disappearance of Asia itself. And as we move through this arc, we also use regional mini thresholds. For example, wet rice agriculture in Asia, paper and printing in China, the Meiji Restoration, the partition of India. This to show how global change ripples through local systems and how local innovations ripple back into the global story. Students also can develop their own little big histories, connecting their family stories, linguistic backgrounds, cultural experiences, or just what interests them to this big history arc. The feedback is overwhelmingly positive. A student said the course gives them the unit gives them an integrated, coherent sense of history. They begin to see Asia not as peripheral, but as a dynamic center of innovation, exchange, and transformation across deep time. And most importantly, the unit speaks to them existentially. It helps them understand their own location in time and space. They don't just learn big history, they begin to tell big history. So what does all this tell us about the future of big history? I don't think we are at the end of a phase. We are at the beginning of a moment of revitalization. The framework works. The toolkit is expanding, thresholds and mini thresholds, grand narratives and little big histories, global structures and regional perspectives. This is not fragmentation. It is growth, like this beautiful artwork, Klimt's Tree of Life, which is sending out new branches in multiple directions while remaining rooted in the same living trunk. As big history engages with archaeology, genetics, and more environmental sciences, it naturally generates new questions, new tools, new perspective. This is what a living framework looks like, and this is the flexibility we must protect. We should resist any temptation to codify a single orthodox big history. We should welcome experimental forms, multilingual framings, artistic interpretations, interdisciplinary collaborations. These aren't distractions, they are the engine of renewal, because there is no single big history. There are many, and each of us should feel empowered to tell our own versions, shaped by our own disciplines, our languages, our communities. Big history does not need to be rewritten. but it does need to be, I repeat myself, but it does need to be revitalized in the spirit of this polyphony, distinct lines, tones, and perspectives interwoven into a rich, resonant whole. Big history must remain flexible enough to absorb new discoveries and accessible enough that people everywhere can not only understand it but begin to tell it themselves.
2 minutes to
Uh,
15 minutes.
Yes, okay, I'll be on time. Because when big history becomes a shared project, when it welcomes local knowledge, cultural texture, disciplinary diversity, it does more than narrate the past or describe the present or imagine the future. It cultivates the planetary consciousness we urgently need today. It helps people become not only global citizens, but cosmic citizens, individuals who understand where they stand in time and space and why that matters. That to me is the future of big history. That is the revitalization we need, a flexible, accessible, a plural narrative that invites multiple voices, multiple contexts, multiple ways of understanding a place in the universe, a big history that belongs to everyone. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Lionel. Very nice.
Thank
I'll
you.
open this up to questions.
Can I stop sharing the slides? Yes.
Yeah, okay. That would be good.
Oh,
Let me
if you want.
see. Yeah, okay, excellent. Um, so I don't see any questions right away. So, oh yeah, Barry, remember to unmute.
Very interesting presentation, Lionel. Your
Thank
class
you.
looks very interesting. Is there any chance that you've recorded it? Because it's a kind of a long way for us to go to to go attend. Have you recorded it by chance that we could see?
Yeah, we are.
I have recordings because we did it during COVID too. So actually, I have all classes recorded. Yes, we change every year, of course. Yes,
Uh-huh.
yes, yes,
Is that
yes,
something
yes.
we could have access to?
I don't think so. It's property of the University of Sydney, I think. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm basically I'm doing all the lecture myself. But for the tutorials, it depends also on the workload. So sometimes they are done by another teacher, sometimes by a tutor. Yes. But I try to keep this unified framework by doing the lectures myself, if even if there are things I know better than others, obviously.
Excellent. Very good. Tyler?
Yes. Thanks. Can you hear me, Dave?
Yes.
Yeah. So Lionel, I liked your ending very much about the building cosmic consciousness or cosmic planetary citizenship. I can't remember your exact term, but you had those words in there. Um, how do you propose to deal with um, garbage? You know, like it's like scientific, scientific inaccuracies that somebody may say, well. I think this. I like this, and it's false. It would not pass peer review in any kind of editorial, so a legitimate newspaper or a journal.
It's a question we're all dealing with today, yes, in this world, yes. When we have a news from social media and there is no truth anymore, yes. So
You're right.
there
So
were
since so I'm wondering what you're thinking about this because you're making you made very specific suggestions for the directions big history may take, and some of your suggestions are going to lead to being such a big tent that anything anybody says is just as valid as anybody else, especially if others accept it because you said kind of acceptance by crowds is part of the you used a different terminology. I'm sorry, I don't remember your terminology, but I'm just wondering how you propose to deal with this
No,
problem.
this is not what I had in mind. I'm sorry this is how it went through. This is really not what I had in mind. Yes, what I had in mind is that we should each one tell our own story with her own words, yes. But big history must remain a scientific discipline, yes. Before we spoke about a modern myth, but it is a science-based modern myth, as David Christian explains, yes. So this is not what I had in mind, yes. That everyone can tell his own story and everything is good. No, no, no. This is. I'm sorry if this is the impression I gave with this in this short presentation, but this is not what I meant.
So I think bringing that in would be important because I don't recall you bringing that into your presentation.
Yeah, because it was obvious to me. But thanks you for the remark. So I should really specify it in the written paper. Thank you. Yeah, no, because I totally agree with you that this is really a big issue we're dealing with today, and big
Thank you.
history. We have to remain scientific, of course.
Thank you.
It's an excellent point. Thank you. Stephen?
Yeah, just a real quick comment. No, I really appreciated the presentation and also the perspective that, yeah, there's multiple perspectives and angles that we have to approach reality. It's like there's multiple dimensions. That's one thing. And I'm trying to do that in my presentation, which will be tomorrow, that there is a certain other kind of big history that can be done. It's not like we have to do it one particular way or one particular paradigm. And I like how you brought that issue into the fold, and I congratulate you on that. And hope to work with you in the future on this. It's really interesting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen.
Excellent. Nabur?
Uh, Thank you, Lionel Babicz Sensei. I'm very glad to know that we have common things, Japan
Yes.
and Asia. And I fully agree with you. We need to revitalize our community and the big history movement. So my first question is, how many years have you ever taught big history? And the second question is, I so I for the first time see you in the IBHA event. So is this for you for the first time to attend a big history conference, big history symposium?
Yes. Actually, I think we started this class, if I remember well, in 2017, maybe. So maybe 7, 8 years. So it's quite a long time we're teaching this class. But you're right that I haven't been active in the community. I've participated in a conference in Australia. I know David Christian. We met a few times because he's also here in Sydney. And I've been to Macquarie when they were active at big history. But you're right. But for also for personal reasons, in the past years, I've been through personal things that actually I was a bit distracted also, yes. So I work by myself. I'm also trying to write a big history book also for a few years in French, because I'm from French background originally, yes. But that's right. I haven't participated much in IBHA, but I'm a member for many years. But I hope from now on to participate more. よろしくお願いいたします。
Great. Welcome. So I hope you will make a presentation in the future too. And please keep in touch. So let's exchange emails later.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Ken?
Thank you, Lionel. I really appreciate what you had to say, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in Tokyo in 2007. I just wanted to say that I think Tyler's comment is very, very important. And at some point, we really have to start looking at at this question and figure out, because it's a struggle between saying this doesn't work for us and this is something we really ought to try. So I just wanted to repeat that. It's at some point a discussion on that I think would be very valuable to everybody.
Excellent. Very good. Ken?
Of course, this question has been something posed by philosophers forever. And, I think two things. Number one, we have to look beyond science because some things are more humanities, almost purely humanities, like if you get into art. And second of all, I think, the epistemic idea that proposed through the centuries, widened by Quine, is number one, you need a sound foundation. Number two, it needs to be coherent with the rest of what's well known. And if it's not, then you really need strong evidence to support it. So I share Tyler's concern. We need to set guardrails as well. And so anyway, this has been talked about for a long time, with also questions about pseudoscience like Karl Popper and others have addressed. But thanks anyway for giving a broad range of what big history needs to consider.
Excellent, Ken. I know we're coming up on a 5-minute break, but I just wanted to, so if you want to take a break, please do. But I would like to ask the question, there had been a way that we could publish, kind of the articles that were more creative kind of things, and that was in Origins, Lowell ran. And I had a couple papers, things that I wrote that didn't quite fit in the Journal of Big History. One was rejected for that, and that was Big History Around Us. I kind of made it like a scavenger hunt, look around you and see how you can tie big history to the things around you. And you can, especially at night when you can take a look at the sky, but there's definitely things around you just from all eras, all phases of big history. And that didn't go into Journal of Big History, but it was able to go through Origins. And I was just wondering, is that an avenue that we should reopen? And if we do reopen it, we would need, obviously people to participate in it, write for it, read it, discuss it. So I'm just having, do you see that as a way of making it more flexible and open to others?
Go ahead.
No, I totally agree. This is the concept of little big histories, actually. Yes, I heard this from Amsterdam. I think this is where they tried doing this. Yes.
Yeah.
So yes. So students, for example, when they write a paper or something, they ask me where should I start. I tell them you can start where you want. The Big Bang is the limit. Yes, and so because you can you have a thread and you can always find a connection with something else. Yes, and so. Because generally, I give them as an assignment an article which is a wide article, yes, and I ask them to put the article within the framework of big history. So this is where they ask which framework, where do I start? So I tell them really you can start with the Big Bang if you wish, yes, and some do it actually.
Lowell, did you have?
Yeah, I think it's a really important distinction. We want to try to keep the journal articles as scientifically based, as evidence-based as they can be. On the other hand, we've always wanted to be open to, sort of peripheral interpretations, not peripheral, but strictly cultural, or I'm not sure what words to use. And it's really hard to make distinctions as to what fits into serious reflective pieces. And we've had some issues about, if a piece advocates that the universe as a whole is conscious, how do you deal with some of these issues that seem, what is beyond the limit of what seems to be a responsible reflective piece? And it's not ever easy to make that clear determination.
And what about, I know you talked about students, Lionel. So what about if we had a place that students could participate or have publications? I think that would be really nice to get them involved. Is that a possible path? So having a student publication or student website where we could post some things. Todd, do you want to?
Yeah, thanks, Dave. And yeah, thanks, Lionel, for your presentation. I think this is a really important discussion. Just want to add my voice to that. So one thing I'm wondering about is, I think Tyler said the word guardrails. And I wonder if part of what's important here is, if we can have a really clear set of core scientific principles that are kind of the framing for all of it. And then within that, there's lots of room for creativity for, everyone to find their perspective within that. But it's kind of like you don't violate conservation of energy regardless of what the details are, or that sort of thing. Does that make sense? If we could have some really clear, concise principles to work within that we could share with everyone, that would kind of help frame some of those individual perspectives, might be helpful.
But it is just science, I think. Yes, I'm sorry. This is really not the impression I wanted to give. Yes, that everything goes. Yes,
correct. Right.
Big history is a scientific discipline. Yes, but what we're dealing with, all the science deal with, is climate. We have a climate science, and you have people that come and say it's bullshit. Yes, there's no climate crisis. Yes, so we're all dealing with this today. Yes, from historical facts to scientific facts, and so this is really not what I had in mind. When I had in mind that with multiple voices, multiple contexts, it's what Nobuo said before, that we need different cultural approaches. Also, we should be open to different cultural approaches. Multiple voices. It means some people will write something more scientific, really, more, and other people will write in a more artistic way, but still within the scientific framework. It shouldn't be a work of fiction. Yes. Yes, but of course you can also write a work of fiction if you want. Yes, you're free to. Everyone is free to do what he wants. But I mean, we are. It's a science-based. It's a science-based modern creation myth. This is what David Christian explained, that this is the difference between all the myths and this one, the creation myth. So here it's a science-based creation myth.
Yeah, I think we need to move on, but I just would want to thank Lionel for a very nice talk, and thank everyone for contributing to the discussion. Excellent.